What's up everybody, it's Izzy, and in this video I want to talk about readiness some more. So I've already made videos about this, but it's something that I need to just emphasize over and over again because people struggle with this so much. They struggle so much with readiness. Now, what is readiness? Remember, readiness, roughly speaking, and remember this is not exactly how it works in the real world, but readiness is the difference between your underlying level of strength, let's say, and your amount of fatigue. So if you have let's say your strength is at 100% and you have 30% fatigue, then readiness will be 70% that day, right? Just a rough way to think about this. It's not exactly how it works. But here's the point that I really want to make. A lot of people, especially in powerlifting, get caught up in associating their value as a lifter and really as a person on their day-to-day training numbers. And this is just ridiculous for one, people, I don't want to get, into the metaphysical stuff here or even philosophical stuff and talk about people's value beyond just lifting. But here's the thing. Readiness is going to fluctuate if you are not a novice or early intermediate trainee whose program is set up for you to be fully recovered in every single training session. As a later stage intermediate trainee or an advanced trainee, expecting that you're going to be 100% recovered every training session and thus be able to match or get very close to your PRs every training session is just false. That's not reality. You cannot expect that to happen. You can honestly expect, if you're doing a program designed for an advanced or intermediate athlete, that your strength levels on any given day can fluctuate as much as 5%. In fact, sometimes they can fluctuate over 10%. If you are extremely fatigued, you are not going to be able to perform anywhere near the best of your abilities. And this is something that a lot of you, really, you just can't handle it. You can't handle the truth about fatigue. You're just whiny and too overly emotional about this. And I hate to be rude about it, but I'm doing it so that you kind of pay a little bit more attention to what I'm saying. Because I've already made a video and the title was Strength Fluctuations Are Normal. But here's the thing. Not only is strength fluctuation normal, it's to be expected. And if you get caught up in measuring your value as a lifter with every single training set that you do, you're going to be sorely disappointed because advanced programming only works by accumulating fatigue. What I mean is that the amount of volume that is necessary to actually make you stronger will not allow for complete recovery at the end of each training week. You will be, without a doubt, accumulating fatigue. So even if your underlying level of strength is going from 100% to 105%, let's say, your fatigue might have gone from 30% to 60% because of how hard the training was in, say, the final week of an accumulation block. Okay, so the fatigue is going to accumulate faster than gains in fitness, especially in natural athletes, because you can only build muscle so quickly. And the rate at which you build muscle as a natural athlete, who is no longer a beginner, is glacial. It's so slow. People always say you should be happy to gain, anywhere from 1 to 3 kilos of new muscle tissue from an entire training year. An entire year. But yet people are thinking that because their squat, let's say, or their deadlift is down 5% from last week, that that the program is not working. They're getting weaker. They've lost muscle. It's like, no, you haven't. What's happened here is that fatigue is rising quicker than your ability to adapt to the training. But that's not necessarily a bad thing because advanced training requires levels of volume that towards the end of a block, towards the end of a cycle, fatigue will accumulate faster than gains in fitness. It's supposed to be this way. If training is never hard, if you're never feeling beat up, if you go into the gym and you can always match or surpass your PRs, you're not doing enough volume. As an advanced trainee. Obviously, if you could just go in and PR every time, you're probably doing something right, and I'm not going to encourage you to change that. But you should not be fully recovered at all times. You're going to go into the gym, and your form is not going to feel the same as when you're 100% recovered. It's just going to feel off. It's not going to click quite as well. The sensations aren't going to be what you want. It's not going to be how you expect. And a lot of people are going to say, I'm just being a pussy, or like my mentality was off today. I'm not being aggressive enough. It's like, no, it has nothing to do with that. You're just fatigued. And again, people just don't, they want to see this as some sort of personal failing. Like, like they're not good enough as a lifter or as a human being even, because their lifts were down from last week, even though they're clearly more fatigued this week. It's not a problem. It's not something to beat yourself up over. It's definitely not something to judge your self-worth by. You have to understand and you have to expect that fatigue at some point, if you're doing any kind of intermediate or advanced training where you're doing a high volume approach, you are going to have fluctuations in strength, and they're going to go down when you get tired. And when you're tired and fatigued, it's totally normal to be nowhere close to your previous strength levels. This doesn't mean that you've gone weaker. It doesn't mean that you've lost muscle mass. Think about it. It's impossible to lose that much muscle mass in 1 week unless you're doing something crazy like starving yourself. But assuming you're just living normally, do you really think that you lost that much muscle? How could you have lost muscle? You can't. So the only thing that can explain these large fluctuations is, generally speaking, outside life stress and training stress. It's general fatigue. And this is what causes those fluctuations. This is what makes your readiness different on a day-to-day basis. And it's not something that you need to be overly emotional or worried about. It's totally normal. Stop judging your self-worth based on the fact that you couldn't get within 5% or even 10% of what you did last time. You need to expect that at certain points in your training cycle, you will be fatigued and you will not be able to do as much as you normally can. And this is normal in training. It's part of regular training. Every good program out there that is based on the accumulation of volume will result in this type of thing happening. You have to accumulate fatigue to get stronger. Understand that. You have to accumulate fatigue to get stronger as an advanced lifter. There's no other way to do it. So I guess the point that I'm just emphasizing and re-emphasizing and reiterating over and over here is that you just need to expect this and be willing to accept that it's a part of the game. The truth about fatigue is that you will always have some, and you won't be able to lift as much. You won't be able to lift at 100% capacity in most programs unless you're peaked. Okay? That's the only time that you're going to be 100% is when you're peaked. At every other time, you're going to be setting PRs, rep PRs, or not setting PRs in some varying level of a fatigued state. The only time that you should be 100% peaked is at a meet. And that's what a lot of you need to get through your heads, is that strength gains are not this smooth process where every single week you linearly add 5 pounds or 2.5 kilos to your estimated 1 rep max. It doesn't work like that. If you plot your strength levels over time based on estimated 1 rep max, you'll see that there's a great deal of fluctuation. This is normal, it's expected, and it's even necessary because you have to accumulate fatigue to get stronger. Think about it. Let me say this again. You have to accumulate fatigue to get stronger. So if you have to accumulate fatigue to get stronger, that means that your readiness will fluctuate. Anyways, I hope you guys really get the point this time. Do not associate your value as a person or as a lifter or beat yourself up because your readiness is lower on one day. In fact, it's supposed to be, especially if you're deep into an accumulation phase. Anyways, that's all I have to say about that. As always, my friends, good luck with your training and have a nice day. Peace.